It's Wednesday, the 10th of January 2024. These are the science and space headlines you need to know now. The first commercial lunar payload is doomed to fail following a fuel leak, likely caused by a ruptured oxidizer tank. NASA delays humanity's return to lunar orbit by 10 months and a crewed landing by at least 10 more. And James Webb's curiosity, the mysterious Aurora, over a failed star. Here's something cool to start us off. Shannon Hall over at the New York Times has written an article about the impacts of the new space race, all those rocket launches. What are they doing to our atmosphere and ozone? As Space Australia's Rami Mandal told me, high-volume launch service providers should be funding research right now. He's also linked me to some interesting research already undertaken, and you can find both that and the New York Times article in my pinned comment here on YouTube. A stuck valve may be the culprit that's dashed the hopes of the United States' first soft landing on the lunar surface since Apollo 17. The valve appears to not have resealed properly, resulting in a ruptured oxidizer tank. Astrobiotic, the parent company of the doomed lunar lander, has been incredibly open and honest with their investigation, which began just hours after liftoff of the brand new United Launch Alliance Vulcan rocket on January 8. NASA instruments were just part of the cargo on board, trying to gain a better understanding of planetary processes and evolution, as well as continuing the search for water to support long-term sustainable human colonization. In the seventh update posted to X, the company confirmed that Peregrine will be unable to make the soft lunar landing they'd hoped for, with the oxidizer tank leaking all of the vital fuel. The launch marked the debut of the ULA's Vulcan Centaur rocket, set to replace the Atlas V and Delta rockets. And while ULA did their part with Vulcan inserting Peregrine into a trans-lunar trajectory without issue, the root cause of the oxidizer tank failure still needs to be identified. Next month, the second Commercial Lunar Payload Services mission will see Intuitive Machines' Nova Seedlander launch by SpaceX. NASA has delayed the next two crewed Artemis missions to the moon, citing safety as their top priority, insisting that the delay is to give more time for the crews of Artemis 2 and 3 to prepare for the first-time challenges that are presenting themselves in training. Artemis 2, a quick trip around the moon and remaining in orbit, was scheduled for November this year, but is now slated for September next year. Artemis 3, the first human landing on the lunar surface since Apollo 17, will be bumped from the ambiguous date of late 2025 to September 2026. Artemis 4 at this stage remains on track for 2028. NASA's Associate Administrator Jim Free insisted that the decision to delay was made with crew safety in mind, and with new systems in place at the Kennedy Space Center, including rapid propellant loading, crew ingress and egress, abort and life support systems, taking some time was prudent. The extensive charring received to Orion's heat shield during re-entry of the uncrewed Artemis 1 in 2022 was noted as another cause for concern. Now, while the shield successfully protected the capsule, the significant degradation of the material is what is of significant concern, as telemetry continues to be analysed. Additionally, Artemis 3's Orion capsule needs to have its life support system replaced, requiring a complete overhaul of the capsule, and the electrical systems for the abort system need further investigation as they haven't performed as expected. An international project mapping millions of galaxies has provided a tantalising insight into the mysteries of dark energy and could reshape our understanding of the history of the universe, according to a leading University of Queensland astrophysicist. Friend of the show, Professor Tamara Davis from UQ's School of Mathematics and Physics, was a contributor, along with around 400 other scientists, on the Dark Energy Survey. That includes also friend of the show, Dr. Brad Tucker. Now, the Dark Energy Survey was a decade-long research project to observe the southern skies and analyse more than 1,500 supernovae. Professor Davis helped lead AusDes, the Australian contingent of the Dark Energy Survey project, measuring the rainbow of light coming from galaxies that hosted supernovae, some of which are so far away that they emitted the light before Earth was even formed. Now, measuring the redshift took around 100 nights over 6 years with the Anglo-Australian telescope at the Siding Spring Observatory. UQ PhD candidate Ryan Camilleri ran the final cosmology analysis, testing the measurements against many different models of dark energy to find the most promising one. A team of international scientists armed with the powerful ALMA telescope array in Chile has unraveled the cosmic mysteries surrounding a dying star, revealing an intricate celestial dance shaped by unusual chemistry. The groundbreaking study, published last week in Nature Astronomy, sheds light on the orbit of a cool red giant star, shedding its outer layers in a dramatic stellar wind during the twilight of its existence. In a captivating exploration of the final stages of a star's life, researchers stumbled upon unexpected molecular emissions on one side of the star, a cosmic anomaly pointing to the involvement of a hotter companion star. Lead author Dr. Tiesa Danilovic found that this cosmic spectacle unfolds in the W Aquilae system, where the dying star is not a lone performer but shares its cosmic stage with a longer-lived Sun-like star. Until now, the intricacies of their orbit remained veiled in cosmic mystery, but with only speculation that it might span centuries. However, recent revelations from the study provided a stunning answer: a highly elliptical orbit taking approximately a millennium to complete one mesmerizing cycle. The implications extended beyond this cosmic stage, with the study pioneering a technique using ALMA to detect chemical signatures left by past stellar encounters, a tool that promises to unveil the hidden companions of other enigmatic dying stars shrouded in cosmic dust. Astronomers studying the universe with the James Webb Space Telescope have spotted a brown dwarf that's showing all the symptoms of Aurora in its polar region. We're most familiar with Aurora as the northern and southern lights, which result from charged solar particles smashing into molecules in our planet's atmosphere. They're usually seen only at high latitudes here on Earth because our magnetosphere acts as a funnel, sending them north and south towards the poles. And that's what makes W1935 at around 40 light years away so curious. There's no nearby star to be shooting out charged particles. And now it's designated as a failed star because it just didn't have enough mass to trigger the nuclear fusion of hydrogen and helium. The infrared emissions of methane spotted by James Webb correlate to what astronomers understand and observe over Jupiter and Saturn, who also spark aurora. But with no star nearby, astronomers think it's W1935 itself, causing a bit of a self-fulfilling aurora, or maybe even a nearby moon shooting off some of those particles. NASA's Parker Solar Probe has completed its 18th close approach to the Sun since it was launched in 2018. At just 7.26 million kilometres from the solar surface, it's the closest approach so far and has technically touched the star. Space Daily says the spacecraft entered the encounter in good health, with all systems operating normally. Parker Solar Probe checked back in with mission operators at the Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory in Maryland, where the spacecraft was also designed and built, by sending a status beacon tone on January 5. The Parker Solar Probe travelled at over 635,000 kilometres per hour through the close encounter, and now the science team on the ground have plenty of data to sift through. Well, Trekzone membership gets you in first releases and first details. With a few tiers and a few options, you can help Australia's only science, space and science fiction podcast pick up the pace in 2024. Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok and YouTube all have podcast highlights, so find us where you are. For now, this is Talkin' Science for Wednesday, the 11th of January, 2024.